Good morning, everyone. Before we proceed to discuss and present to you our chosen person who is physically challenged with vision impairment, let me first share to you how hospitality and tourism industry promotes human rights about the issue on exceptionality. Hospitality and tourism industry promoting human rights and equal opportunity. That's why we have a lot of people working in hospitality and tourism industry that have a disability. Disability is one of the social issues that affects a percentage of the people in the Philippines. Disability-related legislation and policies that have been passed in the Philippines to safeguard the equality and rights of disabled people, PWDs. These are a slew of non-profit organizations dedicated to promoting and improving the well-being of people with disability. Before we proceed to our topic, exceptionality, let me give you initial information about the two disabilities, a physical disability and mental disability. A physical disability is a physical condition that affects a person's mobility, physical capacity, and stamina. They usually fall into two categories. First is the hereditary or congenital. It is caused by inherited genetic problem, issues with muscles, or injury, and it is a since birth physical condition. Acquired. Acquired is caused by an accident or infection. Now let's move on mental health. Mental health, like physical health, is constantly present. And it's okay to have good and terrible days. Physical health can have a positive and negative impact on mental health.
Exceptionality. The state or condition of being exceptional, rare, one of a kind, or unusual excellent. A few academic outsiders have been helpful sources of insight into new media and culture, but they are significant by virtue of their exceptionality, not their typicality. A child who has an exceptionality has some area of functioning in which he or she is significantly different from an established norm. This definition includes both students with disabilities and those with special gifts or talents. Any behavior or performance outside the normal range is exceptional. If an exceptionality interferes with normal functioning across various situations, educators consider labeling a student as exceptional in order to provide services. For all disabilities, the process of screening, identification, and labeling includes numerous evaluation and observations. For example, an average score on a standardized intelligence test scale for children is 100 with a standard deviation of 10 points. If your IQ score is between 80 to 100, you are considered of normal intelligence. If your IQ score is above 120, you may be identified as gifted, and if your IQ score is lower than 80, you may be labeled developmentally disabled or mentally retarded. Of course, intelligence tests are not always accurate, and educators consider further measures of ability achievements before placing a child in a special category. The term exceptionalities in K-12 The term exceptionalities in K-12 schooling refers to both disabilities and giftedness. The Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, the national law that guarantees an appropriate education to students with disabilities, recognizes 13 disability categories. These are the 13 categories of disabilities: autism spectrum disorder, deaf, blindness, deafness, emotional disturbance, hearing impairment, intellectual disability, multiple disabilities, orthopedic impairment, other health impairment, specific learning disability, speech or language impairment, traumatic brain injury, visual impairment, including blindness.
Kristen Johan Tranha was born on May 9, 1979 in Los Angeles, California, USA, a 42-year-old American chef, writer, and TV host. She is the first blind contestant in MasterChef and a winner of third season in 2012. In 2018, in Beverly Chef Hall in Houston, Texas, Christine opened a Vietnamese bistro named The Blind Goat.
So, Kristen Howe was diagnosed in 2004 and began losing her vision gradually and becoming nearly blind by 2007. She claims that she has been free of major symptoms since 2008. Aside from her vision loss, she still has tingling in her extremities, as well as pain around her eyes and other sensory issues linked with NMO. So her visual loss was caused by neuromyelitis optica or NMO, a rare inflammatory autoimmune condition of the central nervous system that began when she was 20 years old. And for those who don't know NMO yet, these are its symptoms. First is the eye pain, loss of vision, colors appearing faded or less vivid, weakness and pain in the arms and also the legs, burning, shooting or numbing, increased sensitivity to cold and heat, tight and painful muscles in the arms and legs. So after that experience, she was discovering her passion for cooking. And in the kitchen, Ha uses her senses of touch, taste, hearing, and smell to judge whether ingredients are fresh and cooked to the desired consistency and flavor. And she also employs a talking food scale and thermometer as well as liquid level indication and appliances with pumps.
So good day everyone, I am Sarah Ansarida and I will be sharing to you the MasterChef journey of Christine Ha. Love is what drew Christine to cooking in her early 20s. She didn't grow up wanting to become a chef, but missing her late mother's Vietnamese home cooking in college prompted her to revise engineer her mom's dishes from her memory. In the process, Ha taught herself to cook, a skill she had to continually refine as her eyesight slowly faded. When Christine Ha was in graduate school studying creative writing, friends and family encouraged her to audition for the competitive cooking TV show MasterChef. At the very least, Christine thought it would be something unique to write about. Despite of having being faced with this obstacle, she refused to give up on pursuing her culinary dreams. As a result of her persistence and determination, she was able to defeat over 30,000 home cooks all across America and managed to impress all three MasterChef judges, Gordon Ramsay, William Elliott, and Joe Bastian-Mitch, throughout the competition. Thanks to her fearlessness, tenacity, and passion, Christine Ha became one of the most memorable contestants to ever race. Christine, the first blind contestant on the program, says, "I didn't realize I would get as far as I did, and I guess the rest is history." Christine Ha gives a single piece of advice to those who would like to but afraid of pursuing their culinary dreams. She said, "I made a lot of terrible dishes in my day, and I still make a lot of mistakes in the kitchen today. But if we aren't challenging ourselves, we aren't living, and we're not trying." Don't be afraid to make mistakes. They are good opportunities for teaching you about yourself or your craft.
Hi everyone, my name is Quintana from Bachelor of Science Hospitality Management. I will discuss to you and report to you Christine Han that's able to name in the hospitality industry. Respected chef Christine Han has made a name for himself over the year. He win Master Chef 2012 and Season 3 that he able to express motivation in people around the world that he be able to achieve her goals and passion as a chef. He able to show in other words, and he writings a popular cookbook that's called Recipe from My Home Kitchen. So from others, nagkaroon sila ng pagkakataon na magbasahin o alamin kung ano meron sa kanyang mga ginawang recipe and dishes sa master chef na kung anong sinaserve niya sa audience, yun din yung nalagay niya sa cookbook niya. And then, after winning Master Chef, Cristyl, he went on be a judge on the show, Vietnam audition. So, nagkaroon siya din ng motivation talk to person with visual disabilities. Nagkaroon siya ng being inspiration, para bang nagkaroon siya ng opportunity to share, and also motivation to others na kung anong meron siya, para bang mararating mo din. She able to judge several others' duties, such as staying in the TV show for scenes a cooking series that cater to those with visual disabilities. Yun yung sinabi ko. Nagkaroon siya ng TV show, and also he able to establish his own restaurant that called Blind Goat, and that's opportunity that he had.
Good day, I'm Cristyl Mae Deapera, the current work of Cristyl Mae. She is currently working on her memoir and second cookbook. Has first cookbook called Recipe from My Home Kitchen, Asian and American Comfort Food, was a New York Times bestseller. She has been featured on NPR, the BBC, and CNN International, and travels around the globe to give keynote addresses and TEDx talks. She also spoken about disability advocacy at United Nations and served as a culinary envoy overseas for the American Embassy as part of her cultural diplomacy programs in Jordan, Serbia, Bosnia or Herzegovina, and also in Croatia. She was also a co-host on the Canadian cooking show called The Four Senses, and judge on MasterChef Vietnam.
This woman is legally blind, but the same woman won a cooking competition and cooked this food without seeing. So how do you win a cooking competition if you cannot see what you're cooking? And how does she cook with a knife? In Texas, USA, I found Christine.
Hi Knots Daily, I'm Christine Ha and I won MasterChef in 2012.
Christine fell in love with cooking when she was young. But then, around the age of 20, she started to lose her vision. Everything she knew changed, including her dreams.
I started losing my vision around the same time that I started really getting into cooking, so this was in my 20s. I felt sad and sorry for myself, wondering what my purpose was in life at this point. I told myself, well, this is the hand that I was dealt with, so I had to figure it out and try to be a part of society and give back to the world in spite of my challenges. I believe that in losing my vision, it has made my other four senses more focused, and so when I taste food now, I find that I notice a lot more the different nuances like the texture, temperature, flavors, and ingredients used in a dish. Now when I cook, I have to have a very organized kitchen. Everything is, for example, alphabetized as my spice cabinet. When I cook, my mise en place is set up all in order that I'm going to use on the stove.
That is how a blind person was able to make dishes like this and this. But then Christine discovered her lack of vision made her cooking better than anyone else. That's how Christine won round after round after round until she won the competition itself. Christine! And people realized just how good a blind chef can be.
To me, I love cooking because food is universal. Everyone in this world needs to eat, and we need food to sustain ourselves. So I feel like when I travel or meet new people, if we can sit down and share a meal together, that's how we bond and connect.
Since then, Christine opened 2 restaurants, wrote a cookbook, and became famous all over the world, all because she didn't let her blindness stop her.
In this world, we're all human beings. We all bleed, we all laugh, and every human being wants to feel understood, loved, respected, and treated with dignity. So if we remember that, I think the world will be a much better place.
That's why disabled is the wrong word to use. People like Christine are just differently able.